I bought you this house, didn't I? Those words from my mother rang through the living room, soft and sweet on the surface, but underneath, sharp as a blade. No. I bought this place. With my hours, my exhaustion, my sacrifices. Every shift I worked, every night I stayed awake, every dream I put on hold, it was me. And yet, when I walked inside, there she was. My mother. Arms wide, gliding through the hallway like some polished realtor, proudly showing my brother's wife around. She spoke as if each wall, each window, each breath inside these rooms belonged to her. And here, she said, swinging the French doors open, the backyard will be perfect for family barbecues. I froze at the doorway. My name is Diana Monroe. I'm 32 years old. And if you think this story is about a house, you're mistaken. This is about betrayal, about how trust doesn't shatter with a warning siren, it crumbles silently, brick by brick, hidden behind a smile. So tell me, what do you do when the people who raised you start acting like your life belongs to them? I waited until they left. Smiled politely, like I hadn't noticed the flicker of guilt in my mother's eyes when she saw me standing there. That night, I replaced every single lock. The house rejected them. It wouldn't even recognize their touch anymore. And that was only the beginning. The next morning, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Missed calls stacked one after another, Mom. Dad. My brother's wife. Each voicemail dripped with outrage and entitlement. Diana, this is ridiculous. We couldn't get in. Call me back. Sweetheart, don't be dramatic. We've always shared everything in this family. Keys, cars, money, this house is no different. And then came my brother's wife, smug and calculated. You really think you can keep it to yourself? Everyone knows your mother paid for it. Paid? I almost laughed. She hadn't given a single cent. I still remembered working 3 jobs, sleeping in my car, skipping meals just to make that first down payment. I was the one who signed the mortgage papers. I was the one wiring every installment, watching friendships fade and relationships crumble just so this dream could exist. And now, they wanted to erase all of it with one tour and a few careless lies. By noon, curiosity got the better of me. I opened my home security app. The footage from last night played crystal clear. My mother's voice echoing, "Welcome to our new home." My brother's wife spinning in the kitchen as though she already owned it. I saved every clip. My instincts whispered I'd need them soon. At 2 p.m., the pounding started. 3 shadows stood outside my door, Mom, Dad, and her. Their stares burned through the camera lens, angry, expectant, as if the house itself had betrayed them. I muted my phone, silenced every ring, and whispered, "No. This time, the door stays closed." That silence? That was my first act of revenge. By evening, their voices were a storm outside my windows. "Diana, you're humiliating this family," my mother screeched. "She's acting like a spoiled child," my brother's wife added. "This house should have been ours anyway. Mom said so." I sat by the window with my coffee, letting their words hang heavy in the air. For years, I'd been their scapegoat, their forgotten daughter, their favorite target at birthdays, weddings, dinners. Always the one who wasn't enough. But this house was mine. My sweat, my blood, my sacrifice soaked into every corner of it. And they hated that truth. Around 7, Dad tried a softer tone. "Sweetheart, come on. Let's talk. Families don't lock each other out. Families don't keep secrets." Those words stung. Secrets? My entire childhood had been wrapped in theirs. Hidden money, affairs, favoritism. Lies stacked so high I stumbled over them as I grew up. I muted the cameras, refusing to hear them anymore. Instead, I walked room by room, fingertips brushing the walls, savoring the peace that came from ownership. For the first time in my life, I had something untouchable. But peace never lasts long. At 9:14 p.m., my lawyer called. Diana, saving that footage was smart. We may need it. Your mother just filed an ownership claim. I froze. The war had started. That night, sleep never came. The glow of my laptop was the only light as I scrolled through the lawyer's email. Attached were documents, my mother claiming she had helped fund the down payment, that she was entitled to shared ownership. Laughable. I had bank records, tax returns, wire transfers, proof the money was mine. Still, the audacity burned in my chest. By morning, the family group chat was buzzing. Screenshots, twisted stories. She stole from us. She tricked Mom. She doesn't deserve that house. Suddenly, the same daughter they once mocked for being too broke, too stupid, too plain was now, in their words, a manipulator who had outsmarted them. At 8 a.m., I stepped outside for the first time since locking them out. My brother sat across the street in his car, glaring at me like a criminal. His wife leaned over, snapping photos of my house as though collecting evidence. I waved. Calm. Unbothered. And walked back inside. By noon, my lawyer called again. Their claim won't hold, Diana. But save everything, texts, voicemails, screenshots. Don't engage. Easier said than done. At 3:47 p.m., another voicemail came. My mother's voice, sharp but cracking underneath. You think you've won? You're still nothing without this family. Don't forget where you came from. That house will be ours. I replayed it 3 times. Not because it hurt, but because it reminded me. They had spent years underestimating me. And now, they were about to learn just how dangerous silence could be. The next morning, I brewed my coffee, threw open the curtains, and let the sunlight pour in. This was my house. My sanctuary. My walls. And for the first time ever, it finally felt like home. Across the street, my brother's car was gone, but the sense of being watched clung to me like smoke after a fire. My eyes drifted to the security cameras, each tiny red light pulsing steadily. I'd installed them months back, not from paranoia, but gut instinct. Now, they felt like prophecy fulfilled. By noon, they handed me proof. Grainy but undeniable footage, my mother and brother on the porch late at night, whispering as they tried to jimmy the lock with some tool. Their shapes were outlined perfectly, their muttered curses sharp enough to cut. I forwarded the clip straight to my lawyer. His call came almost instantly, his voice brimming with controlled fury. Diana, this isn't harassment anymore. This is attempted break-in. If you want, we can file charges. I drummed my fingers against the counter, torn. Taking legal action would unleash a full-blown war. But then again, hadn't they already declared one? By evening, the whispers had spread. My aunt called, her voice sugary at first. 2 minutes in, the mask slipped. Sweetheart, maybe just let them use the house for a while. You don't want to break the family apart, do you? I laughed so hard she went silent. Break the family apart? They had torn me out of it years ago. All I'd done was finally lock the door they used to walk through like it was theirs. As the sun dipped low, I wandered from room to room, brushing my fingers against the walls, the windows, the doors. This wasn't just property, it was the only thing I had built without their claws digging into it. And I promised myself, they would never take it back. 2 days later, the storm hit. I was trimming roses near the front steps when their car screeched into the drive. My mother emerged first, dressed like she was on her way to brunch, not a battle. My brother's wife followed close behind, her designer bag swinging like a trophy. And then my brother stepped out, jaw clenched, his eyes burning with entitlement. Open the door, Diana, Mom snapped, her tone sharp as shattered glass. This is a family home, and you're being selfish. I clipped a dead rose and let it fall into the basket. My voice was calm. This is my home. Bought with my money. If you wanted a family house, you should have bought one yourselves. His wife scoffed, rolling her eyes. You don't even need this place. You're just being spiteful. The word echoed in my head. Spiteful. Spiteful was watching them laugh when I couldn't pay tuition. Spiteful was Mom whispering to relatives that I'd never amount to anything. Spiteful was pretending I didn't exist until suddenly I owned something they wanted. My brother stepped closer, his voice dropping low. If you don't hand over a key, we'll make sure everyone knows what kind of person you really are. I tilted my head, smiling slowly. Funny. I was about to say the same thing. I pulled out my phone, holding up the video. The footage of them trying to break in glowed on the screen. The color drained from their faces. You think you can intimidate me? I whispered. The locks aren't the only thing that changed. I'm not the same girl you used to walk all over. Their silence told me they finally believed it. That night, sleep never came. Not from fear, but from adrenaline, the electric rush of finally standing my ground. For years, I'd begged for scraps of love, validation, belonging. Now the roles had reversed. At 9:14 p.m., my phone buzzed. A text from Mom, "We're family. Stop this nonsense. Give us the keys, and no one else has to know." Seconds later, another from his wife, "You'll regret this, Diana. Don't test us." I stared at the screen, lips curving into a smirk. Regret? They didn't know the meaning of the word. I opened my laptop and drafted an email. Attached, the video clips of their attempted break-in and screenshots of the threats they had just sent. Subject line, short, surgical. Recipients, my lawyer, the neighborhood association, and a local reporter eager for dirt on the respectable family my mother paraded around town. One click, and years of humiliation evaporated. The truth was no longer caged inside me, it was alive, breathing, unstoppable. By dawn, the fallout had begun. Missed calls stacked up. Voicemails laced with panic. Even a shaky text from his wife begging me to take everything down. But the chain reaction couldn't be undone. By 8 a.m., my lawyer confirmed everything was filed. By noon, the neighborhood chat was buzzing. By evening, the article went live, prominent family under scrutiny for fraud and harassment. Their polished image shattered overnight. My mother, once proud to parade me as her shame, was suddenly trending as a liar. My brother's wife, who sneered at me from my own porch, became the poster child of entitlement. And me? I didn't even need to move a finger anymore. That evening, coffee in hand, I sat on my porch as their car pulled up. They stopped at the locked gate, hesitating. My mother's eyes found mine, desperate, pleading. But I felt nothing. No anger, no hurt. Just clarity. I rose, walked to the gate, and said evenly, "You erased me for years. Now the world sees who you really are. This house, this peace, it's mine. And you'll never control it again." Their faces broke, but I didn't linger. I turned, closed the door behind me, and let silence deliver the rest. For the first time in my life, I wasn't the family's shadow, the embarrassment, the forgotten child. I was free.